This video is extremely improvised. I had to do some stuff around the city and I decided to drive to a park. This is not the park I was going to film in initially, but as soon as I got to the other park, it started raining, so I had to find a plan B. And I brought my camera, but she's dead, so the frontal camera of my iPhone will have to do. I always carry this little notepad with me, and I made some notes. Let me just read some of what I wrote to get the ball rolling. I consider myself to be a creative person. It sucks when you can't find the joy in life because it's hard to create, and I'm the happiest when I create. So there was a time when I could find joy in the smallest of things in life, and I don't know where that went. I know I'm not depressed. I said it in my last video. I am not depressed, I think, but I feel very gray and apathetic about life, and that is a fear that I used to have back in my early 20s. I'm in my late 20s now, and I just saw older people, more like adults, being gray and boring and so not excited about life. And I was like out there taking risks and experimenting things and going to new places and just meeting new people. And those experiences, I feel like, really made my life very rich back then. 2019 was especially active. I was in a relationship, and there were some times where it really got me kind of exhausted, the amount of things that I was experiencing, and some experiences were not the best. So when 2020 happened, I had just broken up that relationship, which was a great relief not having that in my plate anymore. But I was fine for the most part, especially at the beginning. I have the privilege. I know not everyone is was on the same boat, but I had the privilege to stay in my family home with my family, obviously, and we get along. So it was a pretty chill time at first. Then it got kind of messy for other personal reasons. And after that, 2021, I was desperate to just go out and experience new things because I was sick of being at home. And I did manage to go out to different countries and cities and just live life throughout 2021 and 2022. But unfortunately, now I'm done with college, which, I mean, it's a great thing. It's something to be proud of. But now that I don't have that on my plate either, I don't really have that many reasons to leave my room. The last couple of years of college were basically online, so I didn't have that much human interaction. So my social circle like stayed very small with the same usual people that I've hung out with since high school, which I'm not complaining about. Like, I love these people. They're my like closest friends. But now I don't have like a social circle, just my closest friends, and that is kind of like unfortunate on one hand because I am an introvert, so that's kind of good, but at the same time, it's like you need people. Like, we are humans, humans are social beings, and I'm not socializing enough and not leaving my home enough. And that is something that I wanted to focus on because I know that I'm at home because mostly financial reasons and personal choice by us as well. But there's people that work online or they have like free time after work and they just go back to their houses and play video games and just doom scroll, and that sucks because time happens and it goes by in the blink of an eye. And once you realize, like, it might not necessarily be too late, but it's like now you're nearly 30 years old and there's a lot of stuff that you haven't gotten done. I'm not saying that 30 years old is old, like, at all. I feel like you are not old until you want to be old. But objectively speaking, even a 40-year-old person, I still consider them to be pretty young. Maybe like the health issues can make you not young, but for the most part, like, you are still full of life. I really want to focus on the dreams and goals that I have instead of just staying in my comfort zone. This is very a personal thing to speak about, but I really feel like I need to let it out. I remember this movie, like The Bucket List, like these two old men. They're friends and they are sick. So they take their last few months of life and they go and do whatever it is that they have on their bucket list and just live. And I mean, I'm not old or sick, but even if I'm young and full of health and life and whatever, we should not be taking life for granted. And I have been guilty of that. I have been definitely taking life for granted. And, you know, it feels good to stay in your room sometimes and just rot in bed and doom scroll and just do nothing. But when you overextend that way too much, it becomes a problem. Then you don't realize when you're desperately looking for dopamine rush on stuff that is meaningless, like cheap fake dopamine. And by that I mean social media, consuming content just to consume content, and not really like taking care of yourself or doing things that push you closer towards your goals and dreams. And I remember back in high school, I used to play a lot of League of Legends. And yeah, that was high school. But then I grew up, and now people that I used to play with back then still play League. And there's no shade in that. But some of them have families. And instead of doing something with their time that is gonna bring them more like fulfillment in the future, they just go ahead and play League. And that is not so different from spending hours on end on TikTok instead of going on walks, learning how to craft. And I mean, we all have different life goals and what we want out of life, so there's no shading that. But at the same time, it's like there is so much out there to experience. And unfortunately, everything is so convenient and so easily accessible nowadays. By that I mean entertainment, fake social interactions, and that really stop us from feeling bored. And when we're bored is when we do creative shit or we go out and meet new people or find a new hobby. And now we don't do that as much, and I'm pretty sure that's also why there's like a loneliness epidemic, and I don't want to partake in that. So I'm gonna make a fucking change. I don't know how, but I'm gonna try to make a fucking change because I don't want to waste my life. I do know that I live in a very small country and my social circle is pretty small. And when you think of growing and experiencing life, it usually comes in the picture, or you imagine yourself just traveling. And when that is not an option, then what the fuck do you do to make my life worth living and feel like I'm me again? Yeah, that's why I'm like trying to find things to push me out of my comfort zone, even though in this small town vibes, there's not much to do, there's not that many people to meet. But like it all depends on your perspective in life, and you're the main one that's stopping you from doing the things that you want to do. So I guess this is a beginning. I left my room today. I had reasons to go out, but I still decided to go out of my way and film this fucking video that I had in my mind, even though there were like a bunch of obstacles and things that were like trying to stop me from doing that. And I was like, you're praying for my downfall, but I am stronger than you. I'm stronger than that. I guess the solo dates is a good place to start. I was also speaking to my best friend a few weeks ago about how I was feeling. Like, I feel like life is gray and there's no joy in life. And she was like, maybe you should just, leave your room from time to time. And she literally said, touch fucking grass, hug a tree. So here I am. I haven't hugged that tree because it's full of ants, and I'm not touching grass because there's mud everywhere, so I have like a blanket here. But I am at a park. I'm outside, and literally, do not underestimate the power of being in nature. My mom mentioned something. It was like science thing. She's a science teacher. I don't know shit about that, but she was talking about the fact that when you stand on the ground barefoot, the negative energy in your body decreases. So there's a reason for that, I guess. I don't know, but I do know that Back when I was a child, I would go into nature like many times throughout the year. I would go on vacation with my parents, and also during like random weekends, we would go to the beach. Beach, let's go get away. Or at like a very greenery area full of greenery. And I haven't done that in a while. I have gone like a couple times throughout this year, but with not nearly as much uh, frequency as I used to when I was a kid. So I guess that is also not good, because I do know, like from personal experience, that every time I go into nature, I will feel a lot better and a lot more creative and more in tune with myself. And that is something that we need. And if you live in an urban area, just go to a park in the meantime while you can find the time or money to go to like a longer trip, a more planned trip. We are like straying further away from nature, and we come from nature, we are part of nature, and this is like a very artificial way of living. So we have to make the extra effort, the extra step to find a balance. The year is about to end, and I really do hope I can take these things into consideration so that 2025 is better for me and for you as well. I will probably speak to you in the next video. I don't know when I will upload. I am just uploading whatever I feel like uploading, because right now I used to post a lot of like short videos on TikTok, obviously short videos on TikTok, but I haven't done so in a while because I don't feel creative. I don't enjoy it as much anymore. And I just feel like yapping. So I'm here on YouTube, like escaping TikTok. I might post this on TikTok though, like a shorter version. I'm gonna link my TikTok down below if you're interested. And if you made it to this point, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're doing great wherever you are, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.